Hi there, it's Karen here from Turquoise Treasures. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm going to be working in my travel journal today. I'm really excited to get back into that again. I'm really enjoying it, and I want to make a faux leather traveller's notebook to go in the journal. So it'll be smaller than the normal size of traveller's notebook, but that's the kind of thing, just a little narrow long notebook that I'm going to find, and then I'm going to move on and do the page that hopefully that I'm going to tuck it into, or I'm going to do a page anyway. But the first thing I'm going to do is start with making this faux leather. I know there's loads of videos out there on doing this, and I confess I didn't watch very many. I sort of stopped when I got to Pam at Paper Outpost because she makes it look so easy, and she doesn't use any special mediums or something. I don't know if there's something like antiquing medium or something like that, which I think possibly other people may use. She doesn't do any of that. So I thought, oh, that looks nice and easy. I'll have a go at that. So I've started off with a piece of this is just Amazon packaging. You know, the packaging they stuff in the boxes when they've got one little tiny box inside one great big box, and they fill it full of paper. So this is some of that paper, and the reason it's all screwed up already is because I thought my husband would do a much better job of screwing all the paper up, and I told him just to let out all his frustrations, so he did. And he's done a very good job of screwing up my piece of paper. So I've just now got to smooth it out a little bit so that I can work on it. This isn't the piece I'm going to use for the traveller's notebook, because I've already because it will need to dry once I've done all the things to it. So I've got another piece ready to go, which I hope will be big enough to use. But I can show you the method. Well, this is Pam's method, and I'm sure there are many others, but because hers looked easy, as I say, I'm going to do it her way. So I've just got my piece of. It did start off bigger, but he got a bit carried away and a bit got ripped off at the side. But I have got a plan for this little piece of paper. I think I'm going to make some sort of small little notebook, either to go into this journal, or I might make something small to go into my bird journal with a faux leather cover, so it won't be wasted. I quite fancy the idea of doing a little mini journal to go in my bird journal. Journal in my journal. Anyway, so. What she uses to start off with is a bunch of inks, the usual distress inks or oxides or any inks really, and so I'm just going to start with the good old vintage photo, just to give it a coating and just rubbing over the paper really to catch all the crinkles and all the creases, so that it just start to get that look. It's really quite fun to do this. And as you're doing it, you're smoothing out the paper as well at the same time. So I'm just going to go all the way around. Whoop, I have to be careful because there's one or two little holes, but I think when I stick it to its backing, those holes will be covered. I've got a few tiny holes in my other piece as well, and I'm sure we can get around that, and tears, but it all adds to that antique look, doesn't it? Well, at least that's what I'm telling myself. So I've got that, and I've gone over it, and then, which I was quite surprised to see her do, she actually uses loads of other colours. So I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to concentrate on some purpley colours in this one. So this is Dusty Concord. So I thought I'd do a little bit of this, because as she said, when you look at there, it does have other colours kind of lurking in the background, and I don't know if it has purple in it, but there is purple in the paper that I'm using for the travel journal. So if I use it in that, it'll work. But I think it'll work in any journal anyway. I'm just giving it a few little touches. This is an really old pad. It's by a company called Whispers. It's probably one of the first pads I ever bought, and it's still good. I mean, it must be easily 10 years old, probably more, and it's still quite good. Still quite juicy, really, considering. But it's a darker purple. So I'm just going to dab it around. Can't really see the colour very well coming out, but I'm just going to keep going over trying to pick up some colours, and I shall come back and do a bit more with the vintage photo to knock back the colours a little bit. I think the Dusty Concord is the one that's come out most successfully, but we don't want it to look too purpley, so I'm just going to go around again with this. I mean, you can do as many layers and as many colours as you like. I don't really feel the need to do lots of colours because I think the dominant colour is always going to be the brown. So it's just giving it a little bit of depth to colour, I suppose. I might actually try a little bit of... I've also got, in the same pad, I've got a little turquoisey one. I think this one called Azure Seas. I might just see if I can get a little bit of that to show as well. Oop. Just put a few dabs of that on there. Let's see how that comes out. Don't know if it's even going to show. Having said they were juicy, I think there is a little bit of colour coming through. It's like quite a dark tealy greeny colour, which is quite nice. Right, that will do. And just for fun, just for a few darker highlights, I'm going to put a bit of Walnut Stain on as well, just here and there, because it's a little bit darker. So I'll press it in just perhaps around the edges a little bit. There we are. I think that'll do. Now, let's make sure I get the right lids on the right pads. Okay. Now the next bit is where Pam goes a little bit off-piste, and I think it's quite a fun thing to do because it's using hair conditioner. There we are, a bit of hair conditioner that I suppose we probably all got in our bathrooms. And if not, I don't have an alternative for you. I don't think Pam did either. I think it's something that's got to have humectant in it. Now, I have no idea what that is, but I think it's the stuff that makes it pliable. Anyway, I'll show you. So I've got some in my bowl. Now Pam just put it on her hands and rubbed it all over and scrunched it all up and stuff. Well, of course, that's not going to work for me, so I have got a little sponge to make life a bit easier. It's just a little kitchen sponge. And she starts off squirting the paper all over with some water to get it started, to soften it a bit, and then a bit more, I think, in the actual conditioner, because I think when I did my first piece I didn't put enough water on it and it didn't really seem to work terribly well, so I'm going to put lots of water so that it really soaks in. So I put some on the sponge, I put some in here so it's a bit runny, and I think I'm just going to slap it all over. You can see already it's looking quite soft. So I'm hoping this will... Let's put some more water in there. I think I'm going to just be really generous with it. Just rub it all over the paper. Seems a strange thing to do, I know, but it makes it smell nice. So there's a few little tears here, but I don't think that's going to be a problem in the long run, because we'll layer up more colour and stuff like that when it's dry. Anyway, so I've nearly gone all over, I think. Okay, so I've covered it all up with the conditioner, and then we just kind of, it's just like a piece of soft fabric now. I'm going to screw it all up again, just to show you that even now I can screw it up into a tiny little ball. I certainly couldn't do that when it was untreated. And screw it all up and make sure it's all soaked in. And just be careful undoing it because it is quite soft, quite delicate now, and it is tearing a bit. So you might need a bigger piece so you end up not losing too much with the tearing. So, but it just shows, I mean, I think Pam did a much better job of it than I have. But I'm going to leave that now to dry and try and make something with it afterwards when it's dry. I'm sure I can cobble something together with this, just make a little tiny journal or something. But anyway, this is the method. It doesn't necessarily mean I've done a very good job of it. And obviously Pam at the Paper Outpost does a much better job and doesn't end up with a great gaping hole in the middle of hers, but that's the method. I think I followed it as best I could, how she did it. So I'm just going to set this aside and to bring in, here's one I made earlier. Oops. Which is now all dry. It's fairly soft to the touch. It's not quite as pliable as I think Pam's ended up, and I have actually coated it twice because I thought it wasn't working. But it's got quite a nice feel to it actually, and I think this is going to be enough to do to cover my traveller's notebook cover that I've got. And all I've done to do for that, I've got slightly mucky fingers here. Let me just get a wipe out, I think, and wipe the hair conditioner off my fingers. Right, let's just give them a little wipe. Okay, so all I've done is take a piece of cream cardstock and cut it to the size that I want. So that's the sort of little traveller's notebook shape and the size that's going to fit on the page. Not sure, I haven't got the page for it yet, but that's going to be the next job. And turn that over, it will fit. You see, there is room for it to go on, even though it's got a bit torn. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to fold it all in, and I think that will be okay. So what I need to do, I'm going to do it half at a time, I think, in my usual way, rather than doing the whole thing in one go. So I'm just going to cover it with glue from the glue stick. Just try and give it really good coverage on the cardstock. And the thing is about this, it won't matter if it crinkles when it goes onto the card, because that's what we want. We want the crinkly look. So if it doesn't go on flat, not going to be a problem. Right, so I'm going to put it on. I might just turn it over and put it on the other way so I can see how much space I've got either side. There we are. Okay, and put the glue on this side. I'll get it right to the edges. Okay. And glue it to this side. So you can't even tell there's a few little holes there. Alright. Now, I'm just lie this down a moment so I can get the, because I think for gluing, I'm literally going to follow Pam's method to the letter, and we'll see how it turns out. So she used the Fabri-Tac for folding in the sides. So I'm going to do the same. I'm just wondering whether to trim this down a little bit, because I don't really need quite as much on this side. I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. Okay. And I think a little bit on this side as well. I haven't got quite quite so many awkward bits to deal with, then they're going to tear even more. Alright, let's get rid of those bits. Okay, let's see if we can get this good old Fabri-Tac to come out. First get the top off, first challenge. Looks like to me like this is not quite glued here, so I might be able to actually need to use this glue to attach the card, I think. Get it to come out first. Should have topped up my bottle and I forgot. Is it coming out? Nope. Just borrow my pin from my other bottle, so if I can give it a bit of a poke. So where's the thing that holds me up? It's trying to get the glue going. It's all going so well, and then I try and glue something and everything grinds to a halt. Let's try again. Come on, glue. There it comes. I'm going to put it on here, I think. Doesn't seem to, the glue stick doesn't seem to want to stick to this weird, slightly soft paper. So as this is good for fabric, it should work okay on this. Probably should have started with this one. Put a bit more down on there. I think I might have to go around all the corners and re-glue them, just to make sure. So there we are. There's a lesson learned. My glue stick, which is the Yoo-Hoo, that one I'm using. Normally, you know, I'm quite happy with the Yoo-Hoo. I just got a box of it just to try it out, and it's been working perfectly well for me. I'm quite happy with it, but it doesn't seem to want to work on this particular surface. So that's something to bear in mind. You might need to use some sort of fabric glue. Obviously, Fabri-Tac is the one most of us use, but if you use an alternative, then maybe, I mean, PVC glue may work as well. Is it PVC? I don't know. PVA, sorry, PVA glue. What do I know? PVC, PVA. It's all the same to me. So yeah, that might work too, if that's your preferred glue. But I'm just going to use a bit of Fabri-Tac just to make sure these corners, I mean, once it's folded around, it should hold it anyway. Okay, so now I don't know which was the front and the back. I don't know if it even matters. I'll make that decision afterwards. Right, so a blob of glue in each corner in the approved way. Well, approved. Ah, bear with, that's my phone. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. That was actually my husband on the phone. He's actually he's at his mum's, and he's just been talking to an estate agent so they can get the house on the market. He lost his mum in October last year, and it's been a lot of work getting the house cleared, and finally he's at the stage where he can put the house on the market and move it on. It's been tough. It's been a tough few months for him. Okay, so I'm just putting the glue on the corners. Folding those in. And you get quite a nice neat corner then if you do that. I don't know why, but if I ever cut the corners across, which is also an option, I always find I end up with a little bit of the cardstock or whatever you're using inside the cover. So, you know, if I do it with fabric or whatever, for some reason a little bit of the inside always ends up poking out. It never looks completely sealed, and that might be just the way I'm cutting it. So I quite like this method if it's not too thick, and this paper it's not too bad. And squash it down quite nicely. I think I need a bit more glue under there. And under there. Okay, and then just glue around the sides. I think glue on the paper because I'll end up with glue in the wrong places if I don't put the glue on the paper itself rather than on the card. So, as you can probably tell, I haven't actually done this part of it before. I only prepared the paper, but I haven't made this up, so I don't know how this is going to end up, because then the last thing to do is to cover it with Mod Podge to get that sort of shiny look. I hope that'll work out. So we will see. Get that stuck down. And I do aim to start working on my next page in this video, but I may only just about get started and have to carry on into a second video. I think that's almost inevitable anyway. That this process is going to take at least 2 videos, if not 3, to get a page or a double-sided page for the journal completed. But I don't mind. I'm really enjoying making this journal, so if you don't mind watching 2 or 3 videos back to back to get this finished, then I'm happy to do it. It's fun doing something different. Is that working? Is it? Have I got a? So I've got a weird corner here. I'm not sure where is the corner. It's there, so I haven't folded it up. Don't know quite why I've got a weird corner, but oh well. Things are never as straightforward as you think. Okay. So I'm filming this on April the 12th. It's the Monday, so it's not going to be, you won't see it until next week, because I'm trying to keep ahead of myself, which works well for me because it means I can pace when I do things. But here in the UK, this is the first day that non-essential shops have been allowed to open since this year. All the non-essential shops had to close, and pubs and hair salons and all sorts of places. But I'm less bothered about the pubs reopening. I'm not really a big pub person. It'd be nice to go out for a meal now and again, but it doesn't bother me that much. But I'm quite interested in the shops reopening, especially the craft shops and things like that. But it's really weird. I haven't been to any kind of shop, including supermarket or any kind of food shop or anywhere at all since the beginning of November. So there's 5 months since I've been into a shop. So even though I can go into a shop, and I'm all, you know, I've had both my vaccinations, I've had both, you know, both shots, and you know, I can wear my face shield. I'm quite nervous about going back into the shops. It's so strange. You know, I'm sort of thinking, well, I'd like to do it, but I keep giving myself excuses in my head not to do it yet. Like at the moment, it's still the school holidays, the Easter school holidays, and I'm thinking, well, you know, there might be lots of people about because, you know, with the children, they want to be taking them to the shops, to particularly to the craft shops, perhaps to, well, say shops. I mean, we have got Hobbycraft, and that is the craft shop. There is no other. We haven't got choices in that way. Oh no, we have got the Range. I lie. I forgot about that. I forget about the Range sometimes because it's not just a craft shop, but it is somewhere that does lots of craft supplies, and I believe it has been open all through this period anyway, which I didn't even know until I saw Tina doing her video when she went to the Range, and I thought, I didn't even know you could do that. But anyway, yeah, so I'm a little bit nervous about going back to the shops. I am thinking I'd like to go and visit that antique shop I went to months ago. I think it was September, August, September I went last, and bought some beautiful lace. And I've still got some of that left, but it'd be quite nice to see if they've got any more lace, just so that I've got something different, because I want to do my second wedding journal, so it'd be quite nice to see if there's any new lace that I could put on the cover of that. So I might take myself off one day this week. It's not the sort of place kids are going to go. Right, there we are, sorry. I think I've got that all stuck down. Now let's fold it down. I'll get me bone folder, make sure it's nice and flat. So it's already looking quite leathery. I'm going to do a bit more work on that. I think I'll probably put a bit more colour on it, but I want to line it first, I think. So I've got gluey everywhere. I've got this really lovely paper that's one of Rachel's, I think she calls them her antique end papers, and I thought this one was rather nice because I've got quite a lot. I don't know if you possibly doesn't pick it up. I don't know if you can see. I've tried to pick up some bluey, greeny, tealy colours in amongst the brown, because that's the colours of the, you know, the prevailing colour in the journal and on the paper pad. I don't want it to be too much, but I thought, you know, but I thought this would pick those up a little bit and go quite nicely with it. So I just need to cut that to size. I want to, I think I'll tear it. I want it to go quite near the edge, about there, I think. And then tear it there. So I think what I'll do is I will put glue stick in the middle bit and then Fabri-Tac around the edge. I hope that works. Lots and lots of glue. Right, that. Oh, and I will link Pam's video where she makes this the this faux leather. I think it's probably a good idea to watch how she does it as well. She makes a far better job of it than I do. But if it works out in the end, I'll be happy. It's looking okay to me at the moment. Just put lots of glue on here. Don't want it pulling apart. And there we are. Ugh. I really do need to top up this bottle. I think I'm nearly there. Okay, just make sure I've got plenty of glue on there. Okay, let's see if I can get that to go on. Whoop! Don't do that. I probably should have inked it to get the full, but I forgot, and it's too late now. I will use my little card just to smooth this out. I just need a bit more glue on the corners. Oh, that one's alright, I think. This one I don't think I put quite far enough. There we are. There. Put this one. A bit more there? Yes. Get that one down. There's this one, yeah, that needs a little bit more on that corner too. Okay, I think we're all good. And I might just go over it a little bit with my, whoops, put that top on, put this top on but leave it lying down in case I need it again. And I'm just going to, I think, just go over it a little bit around the edges, just so it looks a little bit antique-y. It's actually a bit easier doing it after it's stuck down in a way, because the paper's just copy-weight paper and it's quite difficult to ink unless you've got a piece of handy card to put it against, but I find that a little bit awkward anyway. Okay, so that's that. Let's try folding it again. Get the old bone folder in again. There we are. And I think what I want to do, that's beginning to look quite nice, like that. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is actually ink around the edge of the book, or the little traveller's notebook thingy. Just want to ink around the edge of it. So just enhance the colour. In fact, I'm half wondering whether to use a bit of the walnut stain. I'm just going to go over it a little bit more. I might do a little bit of Walnut Stain as well. Just making sure there's plenty of colour on here before I Mod Podge it. Okay, let's do the back. It's coming together quite nice. It feels actually quite soft now that it's all been stuck down. I was a bit, you know, it didn't feel that pliable when it just dried, but now it's actually got a really nice feel to it. I think Pam describes it as feeling a bit like suede. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. It actually feels quite like a bit like a soft leather, to be honest, rather than suede. Because you've got that sort of slightly no shininess to it. So it's really quite nice. I mean, you could just leave it like this, except I think it will, I mean, it probably will be okay because it's got that treatment on it of the, the hair conditioner. But I think I want to take it to the next level and Mod Podge it. I am just going to do a few highlights with the Walnut Stain, I think. I can find my other little dauber. I think I have one. Okay, I probably could use the same one, but I think I'll use a fresh one for the Walnut Stain. I think I've probably got one somewhere, but I don't know what I've done with it. Oh. These things can be tricky to get off. I've got one that's not got anything on it. Nope. I feel like I'm taking the whole backing off. Okay, it's coming. Okay, actually that's really, it's getting quite, looks like it's been through the walls a bit. Okay, don't get them mixed up. I think, yeah, that's the Walnut Stain. That's the vintage photo. Don't want to get them mixed up. I'll just do a little bit, just a little bit darker. I can get it to around the edges. Oh yeah. It just gives it a little more depth of colour. Just along the edges. I'll just try and pick up a few more bits. And on the other side as well. So you can see the difference if I hold it out. That one's got just a few darker patches. So I'm just going to do that on the back as well. I think this is, you know, it's personal taste as to how far you take this. I think Pam used a bit of black on hers. I don't want to go as dark as that. Okay. That might do it. It looks like making this might take up most of the video, so I might just have to start a new video to make the page rather than carrying on at the end of this one. I might make this one, you know, just doing this. I did hope that I might be able to carry on and start a new page. Maybe I will. We'll see. It doesn't take too long to Mod Podge. What am I looking for? Looking for the Mod Podge. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so I've got that here. So now all I'm going to do is coat this with a layer of Mod Podge and see how that looks, but I'll obviously have to let that dry, so that might give me an opportunity to make a start on a page. So just got my brush from the water, so yeah, just going to coat it over and see how it comes out. And it will seal it, but I think it will also give it that slightly, hopefully, a nice leathery, old leathery look. Let's see how this comes out. So it may be that this, when it's dry, well, it will be, I will have to show it to you in a slightly later video, once it's dry. And then I don't know what else, I'll probably need to put on some sort of title or something, or a label or something on the front. Not sure what at the moment. The nice thing about doing this is you don't mind it going all wrinkly crinkly, like with some of the other things that I've done when I've been Mod Podging over napkins, and I don't really like it if it's too wrinkly. This one you actually want to encourage the wrinkles. Now I'm wondering if I can open it out and do the back at the same time. Maybe I can. Save a bit of time. Wet my brush. So it kind of just wets it down a little bit. The Mod Podge is starting to look a little bit brown in there. I think some of the colour is transferring. I don't suppose it's too much of a problem. Don't think I need any more anyway. Okay. So that's probably going to take a little while to dry now, so that's that. So I have got a little window. If you're happy to continue, I will turn off the camera, put these things aside, and we'll make a start on our next page, and then I'll carry on into a second video to continue with that. Alright, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've put all that just to dry to one side, and I thought first of all I would just briefly show you how this page finished up. I can't remember how far I took it when we did it, because it's been over a week since I actually made the last video. But I know I hadn't made this to tuck into my stack of suitcases. I can't remember if I did the holes, and I've put the eyelets in the holes and a bit of lace down that edge just to give it a finished look. And then I made this little tuck in, well, I've called it Treasure Island. It's sort of, the idea is it's a bit of a treasure map, but it's not really a treasure map. It's only one of the digitals, one of the pages from the digital kit. And I'll just show you that. I won't. It's just remember how I wrapped it up before. So I just put a little eyelet in it so that it would, I could make a little closure. And I printed it slightly smaller, and I printed it onto coffee dyed paper, so it gives it that, obviously, that vintagey look. And that's just the sheet from the digital. I think the original one, if I've got it here, so this is it just printed on normal paper, so you can see it's a lot lighter. This has got a slightly darker look, and I've inked all around it. So and this is just on white paper, so I thought it would look quite nice on the coffee dyed. Tore the Treasure Island label out of one of the other digital papers just to put that on the front and cover that up, because originally, I'm not entirely sure why, it says dragon eggs. I'm not entirely sure that we really need to worry about having dragon eggs in the picture, so I've covered it up with a little treasure trove, so I thought, give it the idea it was, I mean, it's not a map on the other side, but it's just somewhere to journal on the back, and it's just a bit of fun, little fun piece. So I'll figure out how I tied that up later. And that just tucks in there like that. And then I think you saw this all finished. So there we are. So that's that page. Really pleased how that turned out. It was so fun. So let's try another one. And I'm going to use one of my, the ones that I actually collaged with book page and things like that, rather than the folded, the thicker scrapbook paper. I can't think my words today. Yeah, so this is the collaged one. So I'm going to use that as my base. Do a little bit of inking up on it, I think, a little bit colouring to make it look a bit more, you know, oldie worldy. So I'm just going to kind of run over my dauber all over it a little bit, so it will just look a little bit more aged. Some of it is quite old anyway, but it just gives it that kind of slightly mottledy, oldie worldy look, I think, just to kind of run it over like that. And just go a little bit more on the sides. And this will all be sewn around. I think I did show the other one that it had been sewn, so I will sew around it, but after I've done the basic decoration and before I do any more on the top. So maybe that's as far as I'll get today. I don't know how far I will get because I haven't got very long left in this video, and then I should probably carry on into a second one, because I want to just see how far I can take this page. And just give it good old ink around. I'm just using the vintage photo. Don't want it to be too dark. You can see there's a few bits coming up at the sides, but because it's going to be sewn around, I'm not going to worry about that too much. So let's see, that's that way round. And the other thing I thought I might do, just to enhance the background a bit, is do a little bit of stamping. I've got this stamp called Old Letter. I thought it was fairly appropriate. So I just thought I'd randomly stamp over that as well, just to give it another layer of aging. Right, so I think that's... I've just got my sepia archival. I'm just going to do a bit of stamping over the top of this. Don't know if it adds anything, but it's fun. Okay, I'll probably do. I don't know if what that adds, but I'm going with it. Let's put that to one side. So this is one of those projects where I wake up in the morning thinking, oh, I could do this and I could do that and I could make that scene, because it feels like I'm going to make little scenes out of these pages. It's so different to the other sort of journals that we make, because you have to start right from the base and build up. So I thought, so I'm going to start with the Stamperia pad, and I thought the one I might use, I'm going to give it a try. Don't know how it'll work out. I'm going to try using this clock. You get an idea in your head, and then when you come to try and do it, it doesn't quite always work out the way you think, but I'm going to give it a go. I have this idea. It's actually not as big as I thought. I thought it was going to take up more of the page, but I'm going to try. I just want half of it. I want to make it into a bit of a feet, or maybe a bit more than half. So I'm just going to cut it down, I think. I think it'll fit in here. Now I want a bit more than half because I want to make it take up a fair part of the page. So I'm going to cut it down there. So I am kind of making this up as I go along somewhat. We will see how this turns out. And then I'm going to start by cutting around this area. I might cut it down to just around the clock. I'm not sure. Let's see how it looks. Cutting it around here. I have this idea in my head, and I really don't know how it's going to turn out. Whether it's going to look as I imagine it might look. I mean, it's not really. It's a bit of a fanciful idea, really. But the way I was thinking, maybe I'll do it further up like that. So I've got this. I've got this Tim Holtz lady. And she needs to be sitting on something, and one of the pieces I cut out of the Stamperia book. I think I remember I sat her on the suitcase that I die cut, but it was too big. But I found that this suitcase was one of the die cuts from the pad, and it fits her beautifully. And I had this idea of her sitting under the clock, waiting for her train. I know, it's a bit fanciful, but she fits on there quite nicely, I thought. And she could sit there, and then I wondered, so I'm trying to see how this is all going to build up, because it's not the largest area in the world to work with. But then I was thinking maybe she could have another suitcase that could be a pocket. So I've got my die cut suitcases, got different ones. I've got the brown one, but I wondered about, it's quite large, whether I can put that behind her. And this could also be a tuck behind here. Maybe that's all I need, is something to tuck behind here. This is possibly a bit too much. I might have to do the suitcase separate because it's quite large, isn't it? Just sort of playing around. And the other thought I had, you can't get everything on the page, Karen. You really can't. So I've got this. It's also not one of from the Tim Holtz pack, and he looks like a station master or something like that, so I thought he could be standing there. And maybe I'll just find, I think I've got some smaller suitcases somewhere. Maybe I could put him next to a little stack of suitcases or something. I thought I had some stickers with suitcases on, so I have. And there's a suitcase that could go. He could be standing by that suitcase there. It's from a sticker sheet. I mean, this is a much more modern sticker sheet, but I have coffee dyed it, so it might work. He could be standing by her other suitcase, couldn't he? I could put that behind him. Yeah, and then maybe stick a journaling card behind here. That could work. I've got to bear in mind that there's got to be holes, so maybe I should punch my holes first before I stick anything on, so I don't stick him over the holes. That should probably happen first, but this is kind of the idea I've got. It's a little. I need a bit more colour in there though as well, so we'll have to see. But that's kind of the direction I might take this in. I quite like her sat in front of the clock. I think that looks quite nice, actually. That works quite well. I'm just wondering whether to cut around the clock and just have a, because I think this takes up quite a lot of room and I don't really need that. I'm going to take that off. I could regret it. I'm just going to cut it from about here. And I might need something behind it because I think it needs a bit of colour. I'm not sure what I'm going to use for that at the moment. So I haven't cut off this piece because I just wanted to anchor it there. And then she's sort of there, isn't she? Okay. That's her suitcase. And she's sitting on it, waiting patiently under the clock. Yeah, I'm making up stories about my pages. Why not? It's a bit of fun. Okay, so I think the next thing I should do really is put my holes in so I don't cover them up. That says top, so that's the right place. I'll just go and get my big bites. Okay, so I need to grab a pencil. Whoop. Sure it's in the right place. There we are. Around that. Around that. Sure it's over. Oh, the holes. Right, okay. And I'll just punch the hole where I've marked it from my template. Right. That just ensures I don't cover the hole when I put the station master in place. Where these were, they were sitting on the shelf. I don't know why they were there. Now I've got multiple pairs of scissors now. Right, okay, so we've got that. So I think we've got the bones of a page, but I think we've pretty much used up our hour. So I will do a second video following on from this, probably immediately on from it, but it gives me a moment to think about. I need something up here to bring a bit of colour in, because this is all a little bit too neutral for me at the moment. I need to bring in some colour, so I'll stop the video there. You can see where it's going, this page, and I'll be right back, well, with part 2, probably following on from this video, and then I'll have had a chance to think about how I'm going to finish it off. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed this. Please do like and subscribe if you're enjoying this new series. I think, and I'd love to hear from you if you like the like this new style that I'm attempting. And please do join me again soon. Bye for now.